Good morning. It's August 11th, and this is your daily brief in science. Here's everything you need to know. The United States mainland just logged its hottest July on record, with the lower 48 averaging 76.89 degrees, narrowly eclipsing the 1936 July mark. NOAA says the heat fits climate change-consistent patterns, including stronger nighttime warming, with consequences for health and agriculture. Looking ahead, forecasts point to a potentially record-strong El Niño this year, following 2023 to 2024, which were among the hottest years on record. Analyses emphasize shifts in jet streams and atmospheric circulation, raising drought risk in some areas and heavy rainfall in others, with predictions varying by region. The agency notes a notable rainfall deficit across the Florida Peninsula and parts of Texas, even as some areas see temporary improvements. Regions at higher risk for extreme rainfall or drought through October cover large parts of the United States, the Caribbean, Central and South America, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Asia and the Pacific. Policy directions are criticized for leaning toward fossil fuels, including reopening coal plants and reliance on gas-powered data centers, potentially worsening emissions. Forecasters warn this could be one of the cooler years we experience for a long time, highlighting the need for rapid fossil fuel reductions and more adaptation funding. Drought-related damages reached about $2.5 billion in the first half of 2026, with earlier projections suggesting about $4 billion in drought costs for 2025. CSI analyses rely on ERA5 and ACS data from 192 U.S. city stations, with NOAA climate regions defining study areas. WMO warnings and rising Pacific waters signal elevated heat risk, heavy rainfall in some regions, and chaotic atmospheric circulation. Kerala bids farewell to MP Parameswaran, a nuclear scientist who became a public intellectual and helped demystify science for everyday life. He fused science with politics and daily practice, advocating democratic science communication and ecological awareness as guiding principles for development. His work linked conservation and development by asking who benefits, who bears costs, and who controls resources and land. Parameswaran, born January 18, 1935, earned an electrical engineering degree in 1956 and earned a PhD in nuclear engineering from Moscow in 1965. Over a 33-year political career with the CPM, he developed the Fourth World Theory, promoting decentralized democracy, local economies, environmental protection, and Gram Swaraj, a stance that sparked internal debates within the left. He argued for smaller, community-rooted production units and a shift away from centralization, blending Marxist decentralization with village development inspired by Gandhi. Colleagues recall his talent for turning questions into learning opportunities, making science relevant to daily life and environmental responsibility while encouraging broad participation in dialogue. His legacy extends beyond institutions, empowering non-specialists to engage in environmental and development debates and inviting ordinary people into public discourse. In Atharapalli, he linked protecting rivers and biodiversity to livelihoods, cultures, and governance, reinforcing his environmental rights framework. Despite political fallout, his influence persists in science, literature, and leftist thought, and his work continues to be recognized. A new chapter in Japan's space program unfolded as the H-3 rocket lifted off from Tanegashima Space Center, placing Michibiki No. 7 into orbit as part of the quasi-zenith satellite system to bolster civil navigation and regional coverage. The flight used a newer H-3 configuration with 2 engines in the lower stage and 2 solid fuel boosters, a change after the December failure that destroyed Michibiki 5 and prompted an investigation. With No. 7 now in orbit, the QZSS constellation has 6 active satellites, improving smartphone positioning, earthquake alerts, and regional redundancy. Space.com provided coverage in partnership with JAXA, with live commentary beginning about an hour before liftoff on JAXA's YouTube channel. The mission strengthens Japan's civil navigation capabilities, deepens U.S., Japan space security cooperation, and supports plans for future deep space and commercial activities despite calendar constraints and the prior setback. Strategically, the launch hardens Allied space domain awareness in the Indo-Pacific and aligns with the QZSS/HP framework, as Japan aims to expand the constellation to 11 satellites by the late 2030s for greater redundancy and coverage. Weather and a passing typhoon caused delays, but the launch eventually occurred on a subsequent day. Japan aims to ramp up launch activity to about 30 per year by the early 30s, with discussions to potentially raise capacity to 8 launches annually through collaboration between JAXA and Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. An additional H3 launch is anticipated in November to support JAXA's MMX mission to Mars's moons, and a second HTVX cargo mission to the ISS is tentatively planned on an H3. QZS-5 failed in December 2025. 3 more satellites are planned for the 3030s, but no replacement is planned for QZS-5 at this time. The success signals momentum for Japan's space program, with downstream implications including MMX on an H3 later in 2026 and a potential ULTRA lunar lander launch by 2028. The 7-satellite QZSS configuration would enable full standalone 3-dimensional positioning with 4-satellite visibility and centimeter-level corrections for various applications, though the loss of number 5 means current operations rely on number 7 and others. A new study gathers more than 100 NMR relaxation datasets and trains deep learning models to predict missing NMR assignments. Finding these models can also predict exchange measurements from relaxation experiments, signaling they capture microsecond to millisecond dynamics. The work, received in year 2025 and accepted August 3, 2026, was published August 10, 2026, and is accessible via Nature and institutional channels. Dynamics linked to biological functions such as enzyme catalysis and ligand binding are particularly well predicted by the top model, Dyna-1, while residues showing microsecond to millisecond exchange tend to be more evolutionarily conserved. The best model, Dyna-1, includes an intermediate layer from the multimodal language model ESM32 to forecast dynamics-related missing assignments. The authors propose that the datasets and models could transform understanding by creating a common language that connects protein dynamics with function, enabling broader insights from existing NMR data. A large-scale observation shows that residues missing in BMRB and NMR chemical shift datasets may reflect microsecond to millisecond dynamics due to exchange broadening, not just data gaps. The work is presented as an unedited Nature manuscript preview, with author affiliations spanning Scripps Research, Stanford, MIT, Harvard, and Carnegie Mellon, and correspondence directed to Dorothy Kern. A new approach delivers explicit quantitative bounds on the spectral gap, not just theory, with implications for stability and quantum dynamics in gapped phases. Researchers from the University of Vienna refine and simplify the martingale method originally proposed by Fannis, Nachtergaele, and Werner, offering a more robust route to proving that parent Hamiltonians of well-behaved MPS are gapped. They developed a technique to compute the overlap of local ground spaces, a crucial step in bounding spectral gaps for parent Hamiltonians of matrix product states. An arXiv preprint by Rosmar, Molnar, and Schuch dated midsummer 2026 presents lower bounds on spectral gaps via tensor networks, focusing on the XYZ model among others. Benchmarking across models including AKLT, XYZ, and deformations of the Potts model yields improved lower bounds and quantitative results where earlier methods fell short. The work is framed as a major advance in characterizing and controlling gapped quantum phases, particularly where previous methods offered no bound at all. The method recasts the overlap calculation as an eigenvalue problem in a fixed-dimensional space, enabling linear in block size scaling rather than exponential growth from exact diagonalization. Numerical validation features prominently, with claimed practical advantages for gap estimation in quantum materials and potential quantum technologies. This has been your daily brief in science. To read more about these stories, follow the links in the episode bio. You can also subscribe to these updates via email at www.brief.news. For more daily podcasts about the topics you love, visit brief.news/podcasts. Tune in tomorrow. We'll be back with everything you need to know.